Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Herold here on Badlands Media. I'm your host, John Herold, and the stories today, very much similar to the stories yesterday. But we'll talk about it, some updates. How you guys doing in the chat? See some regulars. I know Ghost and... Is Matt Arrett even on today? He was in Russia. Do you guys know that? Matt Arrett went to Russia and was like, at some speech thing. Yeah, it doesn't look like he's on with Ghost right now. But I thought that was hilarious. And he recorded this little video for us, and pretty interesting. Can't believe I'm watching this over the president, says Camp Cooksey. Well, I don't blame you, I guess. I mean, I'm pretty awesome sometimes. Who else is sick of all the drama on the right? Angie A81. Yeah, been sick of it for a while. And the constant recurrence of it almost makes you wonder if that's by design. Let's get a quick word from our sponsors, and then we're going to jump right into it. We'll probably start off after the Doge updates, which, hint, hint, there are none. We'll get into the Epstein angle. We'll get to some Lindsay Halligan stuff, a couple economic things. There really isn't a whole lot. So you guys may have to help me talk about things if there's something I didn't talk about that I should be. First up, we have Eunice.
You could make the argument that the more pharmaceuticals we have, the sicker we get. The more statins prescribed, the more heart disease there is, the more metformin taken, the more diabetes. And trust me, the more Ozempic we take, the more obese we'll get. That's because you cannot medicate a lifestyle disease. But 20 years ago, a study was done on a breakthrough, natural alternative that naturally helps the body shed excess fat. It naturally helps improve metabolic health. There are no drugs in it. It's Big Pharma's worst nightmare, and it's guaranteed to solve the problem. Head to badlandshealth.com to get started.
Badlands Health. Wait, what was that? Shoot, I missed the end of it. Badlandshealth.com, I think. For Unicity, I still drink it every day. It's my tea, it's what I drink to wake up. It's my caffeine. I rarely drink coffee. I do have a cup of coffee this morning, so a little sluggish, but primarily that's all I drink is the Yerba Mate tea. So wherever you get it from, I recommend it. It's Yerba Mate is fantastic, or Yerba tea, or whatever it is. We also got Vanman, and these guys are just wonderful. You know about Vanman taking down big toothpaste with all natural oral care? It's the perfect time to grab the dental care bundle to gift. Vanman's tooth powder is loaded with minerals like eggshells and bone, and combined with pulling oils and peppermint aloe mouth rinse is truly the ultimate fluoride-free dental hygiene bundle that saves you 25% off the individual prices. And the van never stops. Introducing Vanman's new Pearl Eye Cream and Sweet Onion Shampoo. Head over to badlandsmedia.tv/Vanman to see what's new. Again, that's badlandsmedia.tv/Vanman. I might have to get some of that. My son, his baby teeth are like so close together that he gets cavities all the time. And 2 days ago, they actually had to pull out one of his baby teeth. They're like, we could keep fixing this tooth, or we could just pull it out. And that's what they ended up doing. My son was a trooper too. It was pretty kind of badass, honestly, to watch him do it and not complain. He hasn't really complained about it at all since. It's been... The only thing he complained about was the rubber band that they put between his teeth, because they had to put the spacer in, but they couldn't get it around the tooth. So they had to put a rubber band in to create room. It's crazy. Somebody in the chat said, I'm sick of BB or something. And I said, aren't we all? And then I'm not actually sick of Burning Bright. We'll be doing a show tonight. Hopefully he comes a little less wonky than he was last week, although it was a good time. But yeah, DPH tonight, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Okay, let's talk about some things. We have no update on the Doge website. I cannot even be convinced that the Doge department even exists anymore, considering how long it's been since we've had an update. October 4th, over a month and a half since the last update from Doge. We need a life check, a wellness check on the Department of Government Efficiency. Because they say themselves here, the people voted for major reform. I wish they would reform how often they update their website. There is no update on the presidential website. We just got a fact sheet of the meetings yesterday, the economic and defense partnerships with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Agreements built directly on the president's highly successful May visit to Riyadh and the $600 billion in Saudi investment commitments secured for the United States at that time. They've upped it to like $1 trillion, even though like they didn't specify, as far as I know, what that would look like. But he's like, he basically said, you know, at the end of the day, this will be well more than $600 billion, probably closer to $1 trillion. And Trump's like, oh, you're saying it's going to be $1 trillion investment. Now they're running with that. Fine, whatever. We haven't seen the money yet. I wonder if we seen, do you guys know? Because I don't know this. I'm just shooting from the hip here. All these, you know, $20 trillion of investments that we're told are being committed to the United States. Have we seen those investments actually bear fruit yet? Like, have any of these countries actually given us the money? When I was a fundraiser, we used to take pledges like that. Like you would go to a donor, you talk to them, and you know, wine and dine them a little bit, and then get them to make a commitment. But they don't have to like actually pay it, and it's not even legally binding. But you just have them sign a pledge card, and then we can use that on our books, which I've always thought was a little weird. Like this guy can back out of this at any time. It's not legally binding, but he can just be like, yeah, I pledge to give you guys $100,000 over the next 5 years. And we're like, okay, cool. And then the accountants would put in our book as how much we've raised so far. That's what it feels like with some of these economic deals Trump is doing. Like, are these legally binding deals? Some of them probably, but or are these more like pledges? Like, yeah, we'll give $1 trillion to the United States. Oh, nice. Trump has secured $21 trillion in commitments. But have we seen it yet? Because for me, that was always most important. When it came to like, you know, I was salaried as a fundraiser, and you get a small bonus. It was a capped bonus, so, you know, I wasn't making nearly as much money as I'm making now, guys. But like, you wouldn't get any commission or whatever towards your bonus unless the money actually came in. So you could get $20 billion in pledges, but didn't matter until the school actually saw the money. And I feel like that's the same thing here too. These commitments to investments are great. And these deals he's making, I'm anticipating they will bear fruit. I'm just saying they haven't yet, and they won't until we actually see the money come into the country. And I'm wondering how much of the committed dollars has actually been secured by the United States. So who will end first? This is from Spetzel in the chat. Ghost or John? Who will rate whom? My money is on John, always, when considering brevity. Just ask CC about that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he's even doing right now. He's covering the Saudi Investment Summit. So probably depends how long that goes. But yeah, we'll see. See what happens. Barbara S., it's not cash, it's building infrastructure and manufacturing. Yeah, that's great. But have we actually seen the investment in building infrastructure and manufacturing yet? Or is it still just like verbal and whatnot? That's what I'm curious about. Anyway, one quick thing I want to show, because the video we showed yesterday of Trump showing the crown prince around, and they stopped and paused and talked at this picture. Trump reposted this picture, or retruthed this picture yesterday or today. What's the date today? The 19th? Yeah, this morning. So I think that's funny. But now the biggest news story from the last 24 hours, I would say, actually, there's two biggies. This is one of them. The House had passed the bill, the Senate, or the Epstein, declassification bill. And I said this on Twitter yesterday. It took this is Thomas Massey's first bill he's ever actually got through. If it becomes law, it'll be the first bill. And assuming it does become law, because all that's left now is for the president to sign it, it will have taken Thomas Massey roughly 140 more months to pass his first bill as a congressman than it took to remarry his dead wife. Sorry, not sorry. The Senate moved the Epstein Files Transparency Act to President Trump by unanimous consent Tuesday, adopting the House-passed measure requiring the Justice Department to release all unclassified records tied to Jeffrey Epstein. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer received agreement from all 99 senators to deem the bill approved the moment the House formally transmitted it, following the House's 427-1 vote earlier in the day. Senate Republican cloakroom had run a hotline to check for objections, allowing Schumer to secure swift passage and immediate delivery to the president. There were a lot of people out there that are like, oh, this is, we're just trying to get the Democrats to call for it. But then when it actually comes time to vote on it, they're not going to vote for it. Well, they did. And the only person that didn't vote for it was Clay Higgins. And there was a story on why, like the reason he said he wanted to vote against it. And he claims he was like, this is a principled thing to do. Rep. Clay Higgins explains principled no vote on the Epstein bill. He was a sole opposing vote. I've been a principled no on this bill from the beginning. What was wrong with the bill 3 months ago is still wrong today. It abandons 250 years of criminal justice procedure in America. As written, this bill reveals and injures thousands of innocent people, witnesses, people who provided alibis, family members, etc. If enacted in its current form, this type of broad reveal of criminal investigative files released to a rabid media will absolutely result in innocent people being hurt. Not by my vote. He added, the Oversight Committee is conducting a thorough investigation that it has already released well over 60,000 pages of documents from the Epstein case. That effort will continue in a manner that provides all due protections for innocent Americans. And he continued, if the Senate amends the bill to properly address privacy of victims and other Americans who are named but not criminally implicated, then I will vote for that bill when it comes back to the House. Yeah. D. Pauly says breaking. And so right off the bat, I don't know if I can take you seriously because I don't take anybody seriously. But Attorney General Pam Bondi says the Justice Department will release the Epstein investigation within 30 days. I don't know. I'm skeptical. C.N. Stewart, John probably doesn't even dress himself anymore. That's actually not true. I do dress myself every single day. And I'm very proud of the fact that I'm still able to do that. Trump came out and posted this last night or yesterday afternoon, whatever, 4:35 p.m. And this kind of says it all. I don't care when the Senate passes the House bill, whether it's tonight or at some other time in the future. I just don't want Republicans to take their eyes off all the victories. No, before I even continue there, let me stop at the first part. I don't care when the Senate passes the bill. Trump is again saying, I don't care about these Epstein files are not what you guys think it is. They're a nothing burger. If there was something serious in there, and he's even having them, investigate Democrats over this, and he's saying it's the Democrats' problem. He doesn't even care about that. At least that's what he's saying. Again, don't have to take Trump at face value for anything. He's constantly conducting psyops. He could just be playing a little coy and hard to get here, whatever. But if we are taking it at face value, and we're just looking at what he says here, very consistent with what he said the whole time, he doesn't care because he knows that what is in there is not what everybody's been led to believe is in there. Okay. Anyway, I just don't want Republicans to take their eyes off of all the victories that we've had, including the great big beautiful bill, closed borders, no matter women's sports, transgender for everyone, ending DEI, stopping Biden's record-setting inflation, biggest tax and regulation cuts in history, stopping 8 wars, rebuilding our military, being respected by every country in the world, having trillions of dollars invested in the USA, having created the hottest country everywhere in the world, anywhere in the world, and even delivering a huge defeat to the Democrats on the shutdown, make America great again. Really, the only country that doesn't seem to be respecting them at the moment is America. I mean, totally honest, but he's kind of saying it all here. He doesn't care because it's probably nothing burger. We'll see what happens, but I'm not going to hold my breath. The Democrats are looking to capitalize on this. CNN is already running stories. They're saying this vote to release the Epstein thing is like a slap in the face to Trump. It's a humiliation. A Washington humiliation leaves Trump more politically exposed on Epstein than ever before. To paraphrase a perennial Washington question, what is the president going to release and when is he going to release it? Donald Trump is reeling from a spectacular defeat, easily his worst from his own party on Capitol Hill during two turbulent presidencies. After every step, he took to stall and deflect. The Jeffrey Epstein saga blew up in his face. Is that really what happened, though? I totally disagree. No one would have believed as recently as this past weekend that a bill requiring the Justice Department to release files related to the convicted sex offender would race through GOP Congress with only one vote against it by Tuesday evening. Why would we not believe that? They've been trying to do this for a long, long time. But anyway, but such can be the power of suddenly unleashed political justice. Now Trump and his Attorney General Pam Bondi, who both triggered the political uproar by pledging to open the Epstein files only to then refuse to do so, are back where they started, only in a much more vulnerable political position. And that was another thing I said. The files, they're back on Bondi's desk again. We are literally back at square one. In the bill itself that they put out there, this is the section. If the Attorney General makes a determination that covered information may not be declassified and made available in a manner that protects the national security of the United States, including methods and sources related to national security, again, further implying that Jeffrey Epstein and those he was associated with were likely intelligence assets, the Attorney General shall release an unclassified summary for each of the redacted or withheld classified information. So it's going to be at Pam Bondi's discretion. The files are literally back on her desk again. So, are we going to get another Binder Gate? Are we going to get DC Drano and Liz Wheeler at the White House? Jack Posobiec? Cernovich? Is that how they're going to do this thing? It's also stupid. It's a rerun. It's a psyop. I don't anticipate getting anything close to what many people want out of the Epstein files. It's been a narrative weapon. And if anything, that's like the best part about this is finally getting the vote to push this through. And, whatever. Some people are never going to be satisfied. Maybe that's some people in Congress, probably people in the media, especially on the left. It's going to be people within our own movement, whatever, MAGA. They're going to think Trump is covering up for Epstein, all these things. They're not really part of our movement. They're just trying to divide it. We'll talk about that in a little bit here too. But whatever. We've gone through the entire checklist of possible ways that we can disclose what's in the Epstein files. The only other thing that's happening is the investigation that Trump ordered Pam Bondi to initiate into like Bill Clinton and some of those people. But other than that, it's all done now. Like what else are people going to be able to complain about when these come out and it's nothing again? And maybe I'll be wrong. If anything, I hope I am wrong. I really do. I hope I'm wrong. And the Epstein files are everything that everybody has wanted it to be and more. Because I'm so sick of this psyop. I'm just not expecting it to be that way. I feel like Epstein has been a rug for a long time. Obviously, the whole time, if it's not what we thought it was. And at some point, the people who got the rug pulled out from under them need to get back up, stand back up, and go find another rug to stand on. And there's plenty of them. So I'm just ready to move on. When you love something, you're supposed to let it go. And if it comes back to you, you'll know it's meant to be. And maybe people just need to let go of the Epstein files. And if they come back to you, then you'll know. Thank you for the gifted subscription, Ashley D. Oh, man, do I get a binder too? That'd be great. What about Massey or something to do? Do any of them see it? No, I don't think those people see anything. Marjorie Taylor Greene had a big post. You can probably read some of this because apparently there's some backroom deals. Guys, can you believe it? Congress did some like shady backroom stuff to like cover for each other and whatever to get a bill passed. I know it's probably shocking to most of you, but maybe those things happen more often than we realize. But anyway, Marjorie Taylor Greene says, yesterday, after 5 ridiculous months of fighting the White House and the Speaker to get Congress to finally vote to release the Epstein files, a deal was made to stop the censure of Stacey Plaskett, a Democrat delegate from the territory of U.S. Virgin Islands, which would have also kicked her off the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence that oversees U.S. intelligence activities for texting with Epstein during an oversight committee hearing in 2019. That is pretty bonkers. Like literally texting with Epstein during an intelligence oversight committee hearing. Crazy. Plaskett texted with Epstein as he advised her questions during Michael Cohen hearing, knowing his convictions and record of rape and trafficking girls and women. This was the reason for last night's censure resolution vote. What was the deal that was made? 3 Republicans crossed the aisle and voted with Democrats to stop the Plaskett censure resolution in a swap so that Democrats would not bring up the Corey Mills censure resolution for alleged physical assaults and threatening to release pornography on an ex-girlfriend and ethics violations and questionable military record. What? You, the American people, should be outraged by this against both parties. Is this true? I haven't honestly seen a single thing about Corey Mills alleging this, and I know from firsthand experience that people will lie and go as far as taking you to court and lie further just to ruin you publicly. Been there doing that. So I haven't seen this before, but obviously if it's true and proof comes out that it's true and all those things, like actual proof, that's crazy. And now they're like covering for each other. She goes on, for example, why does Plaskett, who is a non-voting delegate from a U.S. territory, serve on the House Intelligence Committee, Ways and Means, and Budget Committee? That's a great question. MTG. Those are very powerful, influential committees, and she can't even vote on the House floor. Like, why is she even there at all? Like, honestly, why is she even there? Corey Mills serves on the House Armed Services Committee, Foreign Affairs, and Subcommittee on Intelligence. So why did both sides work together to stop both Plaskett and Mills censor resolutions last night in order to protect both Plaskett and Mills? Members of Congress like me never, ever received such protection and never will. Instead of working to pass legislation that supports policies you voted for, that's a funny one, passing our appropriation bills and solving real crisis issues like healthcare, Congress is trapped in the quicksand of the swamp with no intention of getting out. That's kind of the point. This entire second Trump term for the uniparty, for the deep state, for the media, for everybody it's a stall. It's a stall tactic. They don't actually want to do anything. They don't even want to actually pretend to be doing anything. They just want us arguing with each other, complaining about things. They just want everybody miserable. They don't want any progress. They don't want to make America great again. None of these people do. Trump does. I do believe that. And I'll talk about that here more in a second. But all the enemies of Trump, everything Trump is trying to expose and work against, the things that have been fighting, the things and the people, the entities that have been fighting Trump since his first term, their best case scenario here is to steal the elections in the midterms and impeach him somehow. I don't see that happening. I mean, the midterms, there's going to be a lot of shenanigans. I wouldn't be surprised if they take over both chambers, but I don't think they're good enough to convict him. So that's not going to happen. But the more they can delegitimize him, and whether it's through real like narrative things, and real narrative, that was an oxymoron. Whether it's through narrative things like this story, the Epstein thing, or whether it's through just dividing his base, which another great example is the Epstein thing. Whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. They need to stall as long as possible so that when he's out of here, they can just get right back to business as usual. And it won't matter whether it's with a Democrat or Republican. It's both the same thing. It's not mega. And this is this like third or whatever next point I want to make is the op that we've been seeing going on. And people are going to disagree with me, even people in Badlands. I know Shipwreck doesn't feel this way, and that's totally fine. Badlands is not a circle jerk. We do not all have the same opinions. Circle jerks are gay. We want diversity of thought. So I don't care that people disagree. And that's okay. Shipwreck's a good person. I've not seen a single thing to tell me that Shipwreck is not in this for the right reasons. And so as long as I know that, I could care less what she actually thinks or says. I just might disagree. Totally fine. Friction is great. But anyway, there are people out there that are trying to rebrand the MAGA movement as not America first. And that's never been the case. MAGA, Make America Great Again, has always been America first. And it is. There are people in Trump's administration, the same people that are part of the entity that have been working against Trump for a long time, the deep state establishment, whatever you want to call them, uniparty. They're doing a lot of not America first things. And Trump is kind of playing along in some ways. Like a lot of people are talking about the whole Israel thing, right? The Jews. Okay. Can you think back to a time before even Trump's first term? Let's start with there. Trump's first term, before it. Anytime before it, when people were talking about Israel's influence over the United States politics. Has there ever been a time like it is now? We have more people talking about Israel's influence and foreign countries' influence over United States politics than ever before. We have more people talking about America First policies than ever before. You think that's on accident? You think that's because Trump is actually working against it? Or do you think maybe that's by design? Maybe that's the whole point. And then even Trump's first term, we didn't talk about it as much as we do now. All the moves that have been made leading up to like where we are now, we have more people talking about foreign influence, talking about America First principles and policies, and that is directly because of Trump and the Make America Great Again movement. The Make America Great Again movement, no matter how many people try to hijack it, is an America First movement. But that's what the Psyop is. The Psyop that is ongoing and this divide that is being wedged between the movement is trying to rip off people that may not necessarily like Trump because of the things he says. Yeah, he makes fun of Thomas Massey because he remarried to whatever. Like he's never been a guy to like self-censor, and that's one of the reasons I love him. Speaks his mind. He speaks other people's minds too. He says the things that other people are too afraid to because it's not politically correct. And so there are people that are out there that are like, well, I voted for him because, I thought he's America First, but now I'm being told I'm seeing all these people online that are saying that, he's not actually America First. I need to switch my hat out. And some people are falling for it. But that's the psyop. They want to rip people away from Trump's base and Trump's movement under the guise of America First. But that's a uniparty and an establishment, a con Inc. psyop. That's a trap set by the enemy here. And I don't think it's going to work. It's not like Trump doesn't see it. And at the end of the day, like as much as I talk about the reality that we see, or what I think to be the reality that we see, like in terms of economic stuff, we're not actually like, I don't feel like things are different. You guys call me blackpilling, right? But when it comes to blackpilling is like seeing bad things, and sometimes in that case, reality, like seeing reality or however you see things, and then accepting it and submitting to it. For as many bad things as I see going on, I'm not submitting to any of it. I'm just acknowledging it and trying to figure out a way to move forward. And some of that involves actually just talking about it and accepting the fact that not everything is great right now. But regardless, I do see the context surrounding what Trump is trying to do. Long term, I do believe like we are actually headed towards that golden age. But we're in this transition period now. And I don't mean that literally, even though it does appear some people are like going through some personal transition process of becoming homosexuals or something. There's a lot of homo activity going on Twitter. Twitter scissoring. But this transition period where we are going from point A, which was the way things left off after the Devo term and Biden in office, and a lot of things had to be done and exposed and whatever, to point B, which is the golden age. And maybe we should even call that point C, because right now we're in the point B, whatever this middle phase is. And I don't have the answers as to what the point of this phase is or all the things that need to be done, like this, whatever this checklist is of things that need to be done before we can actually get to the third part of this, the final phase of this. And final shouldn't even be the right word because there's never going to be an end to it. It's going to continue to require work. But there are a lot of things that we need to see and need to have done and need to be stripped away from our government, like fix elections. We need actual transparency in so many different regards. We need actual economic security. We need domestic manufacturing. I mean, so many things in so many different areas that need to happen to get us to this golden age. And we're going through it right now. Like it's our country's dark night of the soul, I would say. And it's arguably more important than the one that we went through when Biden was declared the winner and put in office. Like that sucked. But this is arguably more important because then they just got away with stealing an election and passed it off as like, okay, that's fine. They are literally attempting to hijack your thoughts and your minds. Like they want you guys and all of us to think that Trump is something that he isn't. And they're being moderately successful in some ways. So, but I do think when we start to see some of these things like kick off and, maybe it's the accountability for the Rico Grande stuff or whatever, which we're going to talk about James Comey here in a little bit. I said yesterday she may have effed up, and I think she did, but we'll see. But I don't know. Until we get to that phase where we see things start to kick off, and we're going to be going through this. It's going to be Twitter scissoring for the foreseeable future. The beatings will continue until morale improves or gayness reduces or something like that. I don't know. I haven't thought of a cool enough phrase for a t-shirt for that one yet. But it's gonna suck for a while. We're gonna have to put up with it. And I've accepted that reality. I don't like that reality. Twitter is such a gong show lately with all this stuff. All this fake stuff. But it's gonna stay that way. And the only way you can really honestly protect yourselves is recognize the Psyop. Somebody asked me yesterday, when I posted, MAGA is America first. The Psyop is people trying to convince you it isn't, or something like that. Let me see if I can actually find what I said. I want to quote myself verbatim so I don't get sued for misquoting myself. MAGA is America first. The Psyop is trying to convince you it isn't. There were some good responses in here where they're like, well, do you think Tucker Carlson is a Psyop because he's doing things? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And what about Trump? Well, yeah, Trump, everything you're seeing online is a Psyop. Everything is a Psyop. And once you understand that and recognize that, that's when you're finally not you're not affected by the Psyops. If you can recognize, even though Tucker Carlson says good things sometimes, and you like some of the things he says, it's a Psyop. Even though I say things that you like sometimes, that's a form of Psyop. Everybody is trying to get you to think something in some form or fashion. I don't even know what I'm trying to get you to think, but I'm saying things. And if you just blindly go with whatever I am saying, you're being psyoped. The point is to learn to think for yourself. And I don't think it's possible until you understand that everything you're seeing is some form of psyop. That's just the nature of the world we live in these days. The information we have access to in an instant, the people we can talk to, whether half of them might not even be real. You don't even know if half the people you're engaging with online are real. You can think about that. You could be literally sitting there on your phone fighting over what's in the Epstein files with a bot or some Indian overseas who wasn't lucky enough to get an H-1B visa yet. Not even a real person. Not Karen 20225. Talk about a waste of time. That's why I tend to only engage with people online that I've actually met before and know are real. And it's not foolproof. Sometimes if somebody says something interesting or stupid or whatever that I want to comment on, I will. But for the most part, I try to, or typically only engage with people that I know are real because I know I'm not wasting my time engaging with a bot, being psyoped in some fashion. Because once they get you to engage, you've already lost the psyop. Rumble Piper, I like to listen and follow trillionaires. Well, you're in the right place. I am well on my way to becoming the world's first quadrillionaire or whatever that word is. Bay Arthur's Dick says, yes, John, the point is embrace critical thinking, do your own research, and logically challenge everything you read or hear to come to your own conclusion. Oh, and ask God for wisdom in doing it. That's a great point. Ricky Irish John, we haven't met yet, but I'm real. Trust me, bro. I've seen you in the chat enough. Some of you I've seen in the chat enough to know what, even if you, that's a psyop I'm comfortable with. People that have been in the chat for years and constantly engage and aren't total dickwads, bots. I tend to think you're not a bot. So that's a fair point. Rebel Nader, it's possible that John is spending too much time with Chris Paul. That is possible, but I don't think that's a bad thing. Chris is great. Chris is brilliant. He makes a lot of good points. The more you listen to Chris Paul, the more you understand what he's saying is just super logical, super based in first principles. Everything about it is brilliant. I think that's a good thing. What else am I seeing in here? John, you just want people to think? Absolutely. Trump promotes suppression. Yeah, and I don't like it. I still agree that we are heavily suppressed and we don't actually have free speech in America. And that's why we get psyops all the time because we only see the stuff that people want us to see. Although there has been a change in the algorithm on Twitter. I don't believe in algorithms. I don't think algorithms should exist. Scissoring is good. I'll have to take your word for it. I've never actually done it, other than the Twitter version of it. Jen Cantrell 1776 for $5 says, you think most of this is people waking up pains, maybe out loud crying just because it's all out there now, nowhere left to bury your head. You know, I used to think that, you know, like the whole waking up the normies argument. I used to believe it myself. Like I legitimately thought like what we're going through right now is this period of time where we just needed more people to be aware of whatever it is they needed to be aware of, and then we can move on to the next step. But I no longer believe that's true, and I no longer believe that was ever true. I think it's more so about getting the people who are awake, whatever that even means, and we've talked about this in GART and on these shows, to take the next step. And I personally think that is getting involved in your local Badlander group, which, by the way, I'll be in Kansas. There's going to be a Kansas meetup after. I'm emceeing that event with Matt Gates and those people. They'll probably be the only time I'm ever invited to MC an event, if I'm being honest, because I have no filter, and I'm not going to have one for that event. And I'm going to tell them all they're scissoring each other to their faces. It's going to be a great time. But anyway, the following day, that Sunday, we're going to be doing a meetup. But yeah, join your local Badlanders group, badlandsmedia.tv/groups. And then however we can help, we want to start making some local changes, local impact, national and local. I totally butchered that. Local action, national impact, something like that. There's another rant or two I wanted to read here quick before I move on. Nevada Runner gives 2 thumbs up. Thank you so much. Keith O'Higgins, John, if this is really the Gong Show, is Dan Scavino the Gene, the dancing machine? Could be, Keith. Good to see you, man. Oh, also, I got an email today that Babbage was trying to like send a meme or a rant in. And I don't know if Rumble's like going through some of their own growing pains. I know those happen now and then, especially with some of the upcoming changes they're making to the platform, like the Rumble wallet and all those things. They're constantly improving. But she tried to get a rant through and it didn't come, but she sent this video, so I want to play it. It's called Ghost GART, and it's dated 11/8/2025.
One of the things the Backstreet Boys have that we don't have is a member with an edge. Look at this guy, Ghost. He's got the mad glasses. He's got crazy pirate earrings. And look at this cane. He actually carries a cane. His legs are fine. He doesn't need it. It's called a vanity cane.
That's awesome. Thank you, Babish, for that. That's really funny. Anyway, I'll probably move off this topic, though. I hope you enjoyed my TED Talk. Got a little preachy there for a second. Is there anything else interesting in the chat? Otherwise, we can talk about Lindsay Halligan, who St. Pete 70. I think scissoring would cause your legs to cramp. Maybe. John, those shrooms are working, kid. Maybe. I'm not taking shrooms. Well, I guess I am taking those the focus ones, the microdose ones. What's up, Ghost? Okay. Bastia at 1776. So are we back to scissoring is good? I don't know. That's a good question. That's a discussion we should also have. Maybe that could be a GART panel one of these days. A discussion about whether or not scissoring is good. And we'll have only guys on the panel, of course. And we'll just talk about scissoring. Jacob Allen. Hello, John. Hello. Ghost Space Pack. Cocoa Beach is the law of the jungle, which is the foundation of Florida law, as I understand it. Just Coke. I couldn't rant, so I left my first boost on SitRep, and they didn't look at boosts. I will reprimand them for that. That's a fireable offense. I'm going to fire him. I'm not actually going to fire them. Okay, let's move on here. Where am I at? This is kind of a random story. I want to get to the Lindsay Halligan thing, though, because that I think is going to be the next thing that upsets everybody. and divides Trump's base anyway, because they're going to think that he's covering up for the deep state, because Comey's going to go walk free, even though I don't think it's actually true that he's covering up for them. But just we'll get there. Secretaries of State challenge federal push for statewide voter data. A group of Secretaries of State sent a joint letter Tuesday to Attorney General Pamela Bondi and Homeland Secretary Security Secretary Kristi Noem, objecting to federal requests for statewide voter data to comply with the Justice Department's expanding push for nationwide election oversight. Secretaries criticized the Justice Department for requesting complete voter registration files, including dates of birth, driver's license numbers, and partial Social Security numbers. While the Justice Department has described these requests as necessary to ensure compliance with federal voter list maintenance laws, the secretaries portrayed the effort as intrusive and questioned how the data would be used. This very much reminds me of what happened the last time Trump tried to get voter registration data from all these states. And that was back, let me find the article I did. I think it was this one. If you go to devolution.us, the devolution.link, still don't know why it's not working, but the same website can be found, devolution.us. Trump established an election integrity committee, establishment of the Presidential Advisory Commission on Election Integrity back on May 11th of 2017. And he got a bunch of pushback from the states. President Trump has shut down his Presidential Advisory Commission and called the Vote Fraud Commission. Some Democrats and their allies in the liberal election administration community are cheering it. A lot of backlash, lawsuits. Just people didn't want to give up their data. The Democratic states did not want to give up their data, so Trump folded it into DHS, whatever info they had. It was actually super interesting. Minor Devo proof, in my opinion. But yeah, we're back there. Another square one. Everything comes back to square one on a long enough timeline. We have a couple economic things. I'm going to end on the Lindsey Halligan stuff, I think. Investment in AI is helping to make the U.S. economy the hottest in the world, but overregulation by the states is threatening to undermine this major growth engine. Some states are even trying to embed DEI ideology into AI models, producing woke AI. Remember Black George Washington? Based. We must have one federal standard instead of a patchwork of 50 state regulatory regimes. If we don't, then China will easily catch us in the AI race, put it in the NDAA, or pass a separate bill, and nobody will ever be able to compete with America again. Actually, he didn't say again. He just said with America. MP Materials, you guys remember that company? They, the Pentagon bought a $400 million stake in MP Materials and became like their largest shareholder, even though that's not like the government taking over a company, we're told. It totally is. But they've partnered now with a Saudi Arabia mining company called Ma'aden. I think that's how you pronounce it. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. To develop a rare earth refinery in the kingdom. And therefore, their stock surged about 9%. So if you guys bought MP Materials, especially if you bought it before the Pentagon got their investment, you're going to be happy. We have this now. Yeah, we'll end with this, I think. Judge grills government over apparent lapses in Comey indictment. I said yesterday, in the filings that we were seeing from the judge, like Comey was asking to get the case dismissed, and then the judge was telling Lindsey Halligan and the prosecutors to hand over, like, basically all the grand jury materials because they think there's a violation. And then Lindsey Halligan was like, no, let's get a stay on that. And then I was like, okay, we'll do a stay, but we're going to have a hearing on it. And the hearing was this morning. And there's a couple things that happened in this hearing that are, if true, probably a big no-no and probably not going to result in anything we want to see. Could get appealed. We'll see what happens. We haven't even gotten there yet. But Lindsey Halligan, President Donald Trump's handpicked U.S. attorney who brought charges against former FBI Director James Comey, told a judge Wednesday that the full grand jury that indicted Comey did not see the final indictment. Only the foreperson and another grand juror did. What? Halligan's testimony came in a hearing Monday, in which Monday. I thought that was today. Or maybe the transcripts are just out now. No, they were having a hearing today. Halligan's testimony came in a hearing Monday in which Comey is seeking to have the indictment thrown out on the grounds that it is a product of vindictive prosecution. Halligan said the full grand jury saw the original indictment that was presented, but that the charges against Comey that are currently on the court docket were not reviewed by the full grand jury. Justice Department attorney also refused to answer whether a memo prepared by career prosecutors in the U.S. Attorney's Office prior to Halligan's appointment recommended against bringing charges against Comey. Whoopsie. Halligan sought the indictment of Comey, blah, blah. I want to see. I could have swore this was Wednesday. Today. There's no update. I have other link. Let me find this. Let's do a search here quick. Hold for processing, guys. I just don't want to like some of these are real raw news. I don't want to read their article. Here's the Hill. I don't know if this is any better. This is just from a few minutes ago. The Justice Department on Wednesday, there we go, admitted that the operative indictment against former FBI Director James Comey was never presented to the full grand jury, a procedural error. Get out of here. Defense attorneys say should bar the prosecution. The admission came under sharp questioning from U.S. District Judge Michael Nachmanoff after several judges overseeing parts of the case had raised concerns about the government's presentation and an apparent discrepancy in the grand jury record. Instead of presenting a new indictment to the full panel after it rejected one of the counts, interim U.S. Attorney Lindsey Halligan gave the grand jury's foreperson an updated version not seen by the other grand jurors to sign. Nachmanoff asked the government several times whether he understood correctly that the operative indictment was never shown to the entire panel. Yes, that is my understanding, Tyler Lemons, an assistant U.S. attorney, said. The judge called Halligan up to the lectern to answer additional questions, as she was the only prosecutor who made the government's case to grand jurors for an indictment. Am I correct? The judge began. No, you're not, Halligan interrupted, clasping her wrists behind her back. She said that the grand jury foreperson and a second grand juror were present in the magistrate's courtroom, recalling the proceeding. The judge said he was familiar with the transcript and directed her to sit down. Michael Dreeben, and yeah, this is the Hill, so there might be some dramatization of how this was taking place. Michael Dreeben, an attorney for Comey, told the judge that the apparent error calls for dismissal because no indictment was returned. That means the statute of limitations on the false statements and obstruction charges Comey faced stemming from 2020 testimony he gave Congress has lapsed, he contended. The judge made no immediate ruling, but ordered prosecutors to address the matter in court filings by the end of business hours Wednesday. Revelation took over the intended focus of the hearing. Comey's bid to dismiss this case on the grounds that he's a target of selective and vindictive prosecution at the hands of President Trump's Justice Department, court claim used to undercut the prosecutions, blah, blah, blah. Guys, I mean, don't call me a doomer for saying this, but I have a sneaky suspicion Comey's going to get let off the hook here. That's like, as much as you don't want to hear it, that is a pretty massive procedural error. I haven't read all of the filings in the case. I know some people have. But man. And going back to what I said, I think on Monday, like for a group of people, like we all are, wanting accountability, wanting justice, we called this indictment like a start, right? We're like, okay, at least it's a start. At least it's something. It's definitely not what we think it should be. We definitely think he's guilty of more crimes, but we'll wait on that. This is just like the appetizer. It's the wings. It's the what's the onion thing? What's the onion thing? What is that called? Onion blossom. Comey was our onion blossom, guys. And we found a hair in it. And they're going to take it away. But they might not give us a refund or store credit. And that, you know, for a guy who's no longer willing to excuse away bad behavior, which that's who I am now. This is ridiculous. You can look at it a couple ways now. I understand that there are people who still think Comey is a white hat, and I'm not saying it's not possible, because it is possible. Anything's possible. I personally do not see it that way. I've read enough of his private emails and exchanges and stuff that's been made public through this indictment to see that this guy was not a Trump guy. He wanted Hillary, like he was helping Hillary. He was part of this entire deep state takedown of Trump, in my opinion. And so if he gets off the hook on a technicality like this because of poor prosecution, I can already hear the rebuttals. Like, this is why things take time, because it needs to be done the right way. Because if you don't do it the right way, then yeah, I get that argument. That's fine. But if you can't do it the right way, then don't even bring it at all. Because this was a technical, like lying to Congress. I mean, okay, it's a law, but you know how many people have lied to Congress? Congress itself lies to us all the time. Yet we're supposed to make it a crime for us to lie back to them. Shouldn't be that way. That's stupid. People are illegitimate anyway. But still, this was a technicality, a cop-out indictment, in my opinion. And if you're going to do it, you better freaking do it. And this is what we're potentially going to. I may be jumping the gun. I may be putting the horse in front of the cart. Is that the saying? The cart in front of the horse? So we'll see what actually happens here. But I'm not optimistic that this is going to hold. I feel like they're going to dismiss this thing. So we'll see what happens. Bloomin' onion. That's what it is. What did I call it? Onion blossom? Is that the right thing? Onion rings are sometimes pretty good. Me and Cece went to Texas Roadhouse for my daughter's birthday, because this was a while ago, because she loves steak. It's her favorite thing. And we had eaten a late lunch, so we weren't going to eat supper, but we got an onion blossom or whatever it is there, and it wasn't that impressive. I'm not going to lie. It was not that impressive. Middle Girl says this was allowed to happen on purpose, in my opinion, as part of his deal. That is a possibility. We could see a lot of things that we could excuse away as part of the plan. And I'm not trying to dismiss that stuff. I'm just saying, because we don't know that to be the case, and if they're not going to tell us that eventually, like this stuff like this deserves criticism. That's all I'm trying to say with any of my, like, you know, I'm not going to be afraid to criticize the things that deserve criticizing because of some plan that's supposed to be taking place that they're not telling us about. And so this is one of those instances where what I would call bad behavior should not be excused. If he gets off because of this technicality, because of improper whatever for a grand jury, that's crazy. R. Hody. Honestly, never expected anything to come of it. No faith in the courts. Yeah, I'll get you there. Onion rings are always good. Some are great. Black Hat Destroyer, Patel Patriot. I purchased another year of Rumble Premium and saved $10 using promo code Badlands10. Thanks, bud. Thank you. That's awesome. D-Dale D. D-Dale D-D-L D-D? I've never actually read your name, and now I'm confused. But did you dip it in Thousand Islands? I do not know for sure. John, what's your security clearance kid Q level? You know how many people have Q level clearance? Let me look it up, because I know it's like a lot. It's a buttload. Almost 100,000 people have Q level clearance. And that's just with the Department of Energy. I don't know if that's a thing with all the other departments too. And that was just as of 2021. A lot of people. Lying in Congress is legal. Yeah. Congress people lying is legal, but we don't get to lie to them. They can lie to us all they want. They do it every day, and they're really good at it. But we don't get to lie to them, because how dare we do that? Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about before we another Politico. Judge says possible errors by Lindsay Halligan could imperil Comey case. I don't think I have anything else that's like worth discussing right now. So I think I'm going to wrap her up here. Busy day on Badlands today, by the way, guys. First a couple rants. Oops, I just accidentally exited out of it. Hold on. Cam Cooksey, this is what you should do to Alpha and Josh. Also a solid outro. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save it for the outro. So thank you for that, Cam. Good to see you, brother. And I get to call him brother like that. Not brother, but brother, because he's black. Jay Gonzalez 1123 says, "Hey John, thanks for responding to my DM on X. Real Patriot_dad here. Love Badlands. Keep up the great work. Yeah, I'll get back to you. Thank you for the rant. But yeah, busy day on Badlands Day. We have, let me pull up the shows here quick because, first of all, Shipwreck is having Owen Schroyer on later today, which that should be a fun one. Gonna definitely tune into that. We have Altered State and we have the Power Hour tonight, me and Burning Bright at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys stick around. Gonna be a fun day. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. And I think with that, I'm going to play the soft disclosure ad. Actually, I'll probably play the Cam Cooksey video. Cam, should I play your video before the soft disclosure ad or the other way around? I don't know what to do first. And since you sent the video in, I feel like I should give you. Oh, here we go. I know what this is. Yeah, so I'm going to play this first, and then I'm going to play the soft disclosure. And then I'm going to play the outro. And I will see you guys tonight on the Power Hour, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a good show. Plenty to talk about. And I'm sure Burning Bright will be on one again. So you guys have a great rest of your day.
Okay, everybody, shh. Listen up. Earlier today, Stanley sassed me. And Toby gave me some suggestions on how to discipline him. They did not work, obviously, because they were stupid. So I am now going to fake fire him.
What does that mean?
It's like a mock execution.
That's not a good idea.
Yes, it is a good idea. It's the only possible solution I have left.
Well, you can actually fire him.
No, okay. I've had enough of you.
Why are you telling us this?
Because I want you to behave as if I'm actually firing him, Oscar, okay?
Michael, if you hadn't told us this, then we would have thought that you were actually firing
I'm not firing him. I'm not. I need you to act like I am firing him. Just what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend that I'm firing him. And I need you to act like I am firing him. Do you get that? Do you get it? I'm teaching him a lesson. He needs to learn humility. All right? That's all I'm... Okay, here he comes. Let's just play act. Stanley, may I talk to you for a second?
Before skincare went synthetic, people used something simple, something real, tallow. Grass-fed and finished beef tallow is packed with vitamins A, D, E, and K. Nutrients your skin actually knows what to do with. It locks in moisture, restores elasticity, and defends against winter dryness. No water, no preservatives, and no BS. Unlike plant oils or chemical creams, tallow mimics your skin's own structure. Elbows, hands, knees, post-shave, anywhere your skin's crying for real moisture. Perfect for gifting or keeping your own skin soft when the cold hits. Visit softdisclosure.com and use promo code Badlands for 15% off. Ancient care, modern truth.
Soft disclosure.
0. 1.
Extra, read all about it.
2. 3. Let's get started.
That's real good.
Why they stopping me? Stopping me.